on to the announcements.
The meeting is being recorded by the recording clerk for the purpose of taking minutes. Is there anyone else present who wishes to record the meeting? Seeing none. Attendance. To the attendees of the meeting, a sign-in sheet is being circulated. The board asks that you please sign in to indicate your attendance at today's meeting. The select board meetings can be viewed by going into the cable videos icon on the homepage of the town website. And on Monday, December 15th, the board will hold a meeting at 7 p.m. The next select board work session will be on Monday, December 8th at 6 p.m. Please check the meeting postings on the town website for information to either join via Zoom or for the location of that particular meeting or work session.
Thank you. With that, we'll open it up if there's any citizens' questions and comments to anything not related to an agenda item. We would love to hear from you. I would love to say that folks came just to give us some feedback on something, anything.
I hope you had a nice Thanksgiving.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah.
That goes in the minutes. Okay, then that brings us, speaking of minutes. Does anybody want to make a motion on any minutes?
Move to approve the minutes of the select board meeting held on September 8th, 2025, September 15th, 2025, and September 22nd, 2025.
Second.
All right, any discussion on the minutes?
I had on the minutes of the first set of minutes on the 8th, I had a couple of minor grammar changes that we can ignore if we want. I'm listed as having some comments in their select board updates on bottom of page 5. That I was.
This is on the 8th still?
Yes, the 8th, that I was hoping to change. How do you want me to do that? You want me to read?
Well, first of all, the motion contemplates all three at once, so if we're only looking at one, then don't we need to remake the motion?
Unless we can do an as amended
Okay.
on the
Yeah, I think
September 8th.
if people are willing to consider it, then we would ask for an amendment at that point. Right?
Yeah. And if we can't come to agreement, we can pull it out. So,
Right.
yeah, go ahead.
So it's under select board updates, bottom of page 5. Member Mets expressed appreciation on then the second sentence begins, member Mets, and then I would substitute, complimented the workers at the DPW garage who paused their truck loading work to allow a citizen the use of the cardboard drop-off.
That's fine.
You want me to repeat that?
No, I'm gonna come to you afterwards.
Okay.
Okay, any other changes or discussion? Okay, so then we were talking about an amended minutes? Or as amended?
It was just those?
Yeah, and 2 minor grammar things which are probably not necessary to discuss.
Okay. So we're voting to approve the minutes as amended. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, that brings us to our
Thank you.
first new business. Mr. Hartunian, would you like to introduce?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, all. Tonight we have representatives from the Kale Group, Suzanne, and we have David as well, who are here to update the select board and the community on Emerson Homes. Emerson Homes, as you know, is a project located in the former Emerson Fields behind the Emerson Center. It's a property that was formerly owned by the church, which has been dispositioned, and they're coming before us to hear tonight is an update on the 44 unit housing facility that'll be built in the near future, 40B project. It's been a little bit of time since they came in last, as part of the typical process, does take some time to line up the financing. But seeing how there has been a little bit of a gap, Suzanne and I talked, and David as well, we said it'd be great for you to come in, and they were willing to do so, tonight we have a little bit of a presentation, and then I'm sure there'll be an opportunity for the board to ask any questions at the end, so.
Can I get up? What do you want me to do? Just sit or?
Can you pick it up?
Yeah, the cameras, they follow you.
Okay,
So
alright.
whoever's-
So I can sit here and they'll hear me?
Yeah.
Cause my voice is kinda, alright, nice meeting you or meeting you again, I think we've met before. Congrats to the new board members. And hi everyone. So I have a presentation, I have a little agenda, if you wanna go to the next slide, there you go. So I'll give you some background on who we are, some background on the project itself, the funding it's taking to make it happen, the timeline we're looking at, the SHI update for the town, and then a little update on the road stuff, which road traffic, which everyone's aware of, I believe. All right, so the Caleb Group, we're a 501c3, so we're a nonprofit. We were founded, I guess, 34 years ago at this point. We're based out of Lynn, across from, we're in an old library, across from a restaurant that's under construction, Lake, what is it? I forget the name, Winnipesaukee, it's a play on the name, anyways, details. We're a developer, owner, and acquirer and manager of affordable housing units. We tend to hold our properties and not sell them. So that's who we are in a nutshell. This is our portfolio. We have over 30, we call them communities. We're throughout 4 states in New England, Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and Connecticut. We have about 1,900 units and 4,200 residents. So we're happy to add Topsfield to the map. So on each community, we have the presence of property management, resident services, and maintenance. So this is actually what we're planning to do in this property here. We'll have part-time personnel. I think at this point, they're planned to be on the project about half-time. So we can go down into further details if you have questions. So this is a slide that actually goes over what we more specifically do with a resident service coordinator. These are examples, address social isolation, potential food insecurity. The clinics were probably a hot thing during COVID. They have educational programs. They might have activities like knitting, gardening. Gardening is probably definitely gonna happen given how much space we have. So those are just examples. Of course, those are really tailored to who lives there and what the residents, are interested in doing. So those are just examples. So this is the actual project. It's 44 units, a mix of studios, 1 bedroom and 2 bedrooms. It's an all-electric building with a solar array and EV charging stations. The architecture of the building blends itself with the historic context of downtown Topsfield. We're pretty proud of that. This is targeted to older adults, so 62 plus. 43 of the 44 units are affordable, one of them being market, and it's for folks who earn up to 60% of AMI. So this dates back to a couple of years ago. We've got the comp permit and the Conservation Commission order of conditions in place back then. And as Kevin alluded, in the meantime, we've been busy bees trying to line up the money to make this a reality. So this is what it's gonna take to make the project happen. So we're acquiring the property from the church. We don't yet own it. We have an option to purchase. Then the construction, this includes, anyways, we're estimating about $17 million. And then there's some of the costs that are included in this. And then on the right, you see all the sources, essentially what it's gonna take to make this happen. So what's under tax credits is what we were awarded this past August by the state, and took about 3 rounds. It actually took 3 rounds to make it happen. Yeah, so it's not cheap, but so then from a timeline perspective, yeah.
The overhead line item in that, is that the contractor's overhead or is that yours?
So the overhead and the fee is ours, so it's gonna pay for all of our, pay for me, pay for finance, pay for everyone in the organization who's been working on this. And then we're making a little bit of a profit on it. As you know, we've been working at it for quite some time, so at the end of the day, it's not that much. But yeah.
4%.
Alright, so from a timeline perspective, we're in Q4, right? So we were just wrapping up the design, still working on tweaking it a little bit. This past month, we met with the project review meeting in town, which was successful. Then we're planning on meeting with the Historic Commission to go over some of the designs. And then we have a Board of Health review meeting for the septic tank. It was scheduled, I think, last week and it got canceled, so I'm assuming it's gonna happen this month. Other than that, so there's a lot going on between now and getting to the finish line, which means the beginning of construction, but essentially we're in the process of going after a general contractor. We're hoping to have one lined up by early January. Then we're gonna go and what's called chase or issue an RFP for an investor who's gonna purchase tax credits. And then by July, we're hoping to start construction. And it's gonna take maybe 14 months to complete, and we're hoping to have it done in the fall of 27. Throughout all that, we're planning on continuing the communication with you, Kevin, the community, the abutters, and constantly keeping folks abreast of what's going on and working with the various parties.
When you said you're selling the tax credits, are you selling the federal and state or just the state credits?
Both.
Both, okay.
Sam?
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. So another positive for the town is our units are essentially the 44 units are essentially increasing the housing stock of what's considered affordable units in town, and it puts you above the 10% threshold that the state is looking for. And so I think as we were discussing with Kevin, you're protected for a little bit from non-positive 40Bs.
So Mass General Law, if you're under 10% of your affordable units,
Yes.
then you're subject to what's known as a 40B development, which sometimes can be unfriendly and which are not necessarily, they're exempt from zoning and they can put sometimes projects that are unwanted. Once you reach a 10% threshold, any town or city that has 10 or greater, 40B, unfriendly 40Bs, they're not allowed to be exempt from that zoning. So this project will get us over that 10% threshold.
I know that's what we concluded a couple of years ago, but with the number of, I don't know how many houses have been built, are we still comfortable with that assertion?
So resets every census. So right now we're operating under the 2020 census.
Oh, it's still just based on the 20, that's
And
right.
so
Okay.
any new affordable units get added in, any market does not until they do the next round of
That's right.
census data, then both the affordable and non-affordable will be
Thank you.
That's a 10-year cycle, is it?
correct. 2030 is our next census.
Alright. Next topic, the traffic study. So we hired Van Ness and Associates. Yes, go ahead.
Before we go on to that, can I ask a question on something prior? You talked about a historic society
It's
meeting coming up.
so it's just gonna be yeah, go ahead, finish your question.
If they have ideas,
Yes.
how much room is there, how much flexibility is there in the ultimate plan to accommodate some of their ideas?
Depends on what it is. right?
So
We
there's
don't-
some,
Possibly, yeah.
okay.
And related to that, I know that you said EVs and solar are still under consideration, so when do
No,
they
they're-
go?
They're in the plan. So if the code requires us to have a certain number of EV stations.
Okay,
I think we're, based on the last drawings we got, we were initially planning for 2. I think it's up to 8 now. I'm forgetting the number, but the number has gone up.
okay, cause the letter that we had said it's both the EVs and the solar panels are under consideration, those are locked in, or
So-
just the EVs are locked
So
in?
the EVs, I might have to get back to you on that, but my understanding is we have, per code, we have to
Mhm.
power those 8 parking spots. The solar, we definitely wanted there. Right now, we can afford it. Once we get the GC proposals, the reality is gonna hit, and then we'll figure out how much we can afford. If we
Yeah.
have to do value engineering, cut some scope, hopefully we're not gonna cut the solar because it's definitely needed for an all-electric building.
Okay, so then that's why it's kind of related to that, like if the
Yeah.
historic commission.
Uh-huh.
My other question on the all electric, then does that mean that there's not gonna be a gas hookup, or is there gonna be gas as backup, or
There's no
battery
gas.
backup?
No gas. The backup is what kind of diesel? Yeah,
Diesel,
for a generator.
okay,
And I would say that I know our fire chief, working with Caleb and National Grid, are already working on the generator that's necessary. It's one of the first.
We have a work order with National Grid, to, I guess, and the the fire chief, actually put us in touch with National Grid, so that they can help us facilitate the process.
gotcha. Perfect, and then just one other question before you move on, sticking with the, when are you expecting to close on the property itself? In
July.
the process,
It's
July?
when we start construction.
Okay.
So essentially, the closing, it means we're gonna line up the construction loan, and we're gonna acquire the property at the same time.
It's effectively a final
It's the
investment
same-
decision,
It's the
that's the
same day,
go-no.
yeah,
Yeah.
a lot happens on that day, it's a lot of work.
You're gonna sell the investment tax credits before you close.
We're gonna have it lined up and it's gonna be effective on that day.
Thank you.
Sure. Other questions? Alright, traffic. So as part of this project, we hired a consultant to perform a traffic study. It was done 3 years back. The conclusion was that there's no significant impact on numerous delays or vehicles queuing up. But however, they had some recommendations. One of them, which was creating a sidewalk across from the library and facilitate the completion of a road safety audit, which is in the process of being done, and the town has been involved, which is the next slide. So the RSA has been underway. It's currently at the 4th step, which is the yellow, what I circled in yellow. There is a meeting that you guys have on the books. I'm not quite sure. A few departments are invited to the meeting. I think it's on December 9th. We're not allowed to crash the party, so you let us know. But so we ordered that on behalf of the town. So you could, yeah. So it's underway.
Suzanne, sorry, if I just.
Yeah, go ahead, you chime in.
The
It's-
road
it's-
safety
yeah.
audit is something that was, it's important to us. It's gonna look at the entire intersection. A lot of the traffic study was counting cars, understanding what the impacts from conflict perspectives are, and then the recommendations that they made. Work with MassDOT, we've had a couple calls with them, our highway superintendent, myself. And I think next week we'll be out there looking at it with a small army of MassDOT engineers to make, they'll review it and then they'll make recommendations, anything from painting lines all the way up to full infrastructure changes. Doing the road safety audit, no matter what level of the menu we choose, if anything, to do, does open us up for some state grants as well to fund certain types of improvements. So if it says there needs to be some infrastructure changes, a bump out, what have you, we could look at some state funds to help us with that. But the first step is, or even a MassWorks grant, which would be a more comprehensive redesign if that's if it's what recommended and we wanna move forward. This is the first step to even get us in that conversation, and it's appreciated, because there's a lot of resources that the state's providing us out of District 4 that allow us to in Boston to take a really good comprehensive look of the entire intersection, and we appreciate Caleb Group footing the bill for it.
And this will include how to get cars in and out of the driveway into the traffic pattern safely.
Not necessarily, because I believe the traffic study showed that it's not. There's certain elements that we can incorporate, like certain hours, no left-hand turn, things like that, would create more of a conflict that they might look at things like that. But it's a piece of the whole that they'll look at. I think the traffic study itself that was done for this project, that was peer reviewed through the Zoning Board of Appeals, they made recommendations based on impacts of the actual driveway conflicting with High Street. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And so the rapid flashing beacon is still being examined.
So the rapid flashing beacon
It's listed in here as a recommendation.
because that first traffic study looked at that one particular
Yeah.
location, not the entire intersection. One of the things the town said after the recommendation was, let's pause for a second.
Yeah.
We're doing the road safety audit. Let's look at it comprehensively, because if a rapid flashing beacon is more useful to be located 20 feet closer to the intersection, so you have less conflicts being created, or if it's a different type of treatment that they think would be appropriate for the intersection, depending on what type of improvements we make, if any. We really could look at the whole before landing on a specific treatment, and so that's why we're pausing that at the moment. And we'll let MassDOT's engineers and the experts guide us in what's the next best option, if that is the right option to continue.
Is it possible to look at the data that was submitted to MassDOT in the study above it?
So MassDOT will perform their on-site visit, and my understanding is they'll write up a comprehensive report with the different levels of recommendations. I believe the data they're using to make those recommendations likely could be available, if not included.
Yeah, this said, so we submitted, I presume that means data, right? Submitted data to MassDOT for review.
Oh,
So we've already, is that,
Not sure if it came from Caleb or a combination of us and the
oh,
highway
this is the
superintendent.
consultant, who would have submitted that to MassDOT, not us.
is that considered a
involved.
public document or a private document?
I don't know.
If they're creating a public document using that information, I'm sure there's no issue of getting that information if we need
We're
it.
not involved in this, Bob. We're just footing the bill at this point. And keeping
important
track of
part.
the dates. I'm sorry?
That's an important part.
Yes, so we have no involvement. We're not influencing it. Yeah.
I'd like to make a couple of comments.
Sure.
This board has heard me say this before, but there's people in the audience that haven't heard me say it. I live at a place in Topsfield called Great Hill. And we have twice the population that you're proposing here. And we all drive down the drive at Great Hill and intersect with Ipswich Road. Now granted, Ipswich Road doesn't have anywhere near the traffic that this thing is going to encounter in the morning or in the afternoon. But rarely do I ever come down that driveway at Great Hill at Ipswich Road and see any other car but mine trying to get on Ipswich Road. So for the people to get in and out of Emerson Homes, I don't think is a big deal if they're reasonably a little bit patient, because I think that the traffic will allow that to happen, okay? And with that in mind, I would hope that we don't get too dramatic with flashing lights and stoplights and crosswalks and all this kind of stuff, which I think will make the whole situation worse. Enough said about that subject.
Yeah, this was a recommendation that the consultant made and the ZBA incorporated that into the comp permit. So, but you're having discussions and
We're pausing it for
yeah,
those reasons.
It might
okay.
take a different direction,
Okay.
But we're gonna make sure a lot of engineers and experts look at it
Yeah.
before.
but we have to make sure that the safety of our residents is not compromised and all of that, right? So,
Still some work to do.
Can public make a comment?
Can we hold them to the end?
Sure.
Another comment I'd like to make, you presented a very nice picture here. I love the looks of the place
thank you.
and it's a rosy picture and
Okay.
you've told us all the things that we wanna hear. Tell me, and I know you won't be totally honest with me, but
You don't know me. Yeah.
but tell me what your concerns are going forward here. Do you have any concerns about pulling this thing really off and getting it done?
Construction costs, we don't really know where it's gonna land. Might come above what we've planned, what we've budgeted. And then David and I have to figure out what to do. Do we cut scope? What scope are we cutting? Can we go and chase money elsewhere that we haven't already chased? So that's one concern. Then during the course of construction, being subject to crazy change orders, which is gonna increase the cost of building. Encountering delays. Hopefully, the building department is friendly to work with, right? Cause that could be difficult too. What else do we have concerns with? Mostly money at this point.
Okay, along those lines, can I ask then, going back to solar, in case you didn't notice, I'm interested.
Yeah.
OBA got rid of the ITC, right? If you don't
Yeah.
have solar panels under construction. So you guys are right up on that
Yeah.
deadline.
Yes.
Grandfathered.
You're grandfathered, you're safe harbored, you
Yes,
got them,
yes.
okay, alright,
Yeah,
that's
we
great
we
news.
we just we talked to 3 solar providers and we were all talking about safe harboring and what it takes to get there.
Awesome.
So way back when we were walking around Emerson Field and
3 years
meeting
ago.
at the church,
Yes.
in another lifetime almost, you all said you would put in some arborvitae and other green growing bushes and trees to try and maintain a visual barrier between the back of the Howlett Street houses and the development. And I guess something like that may also be necessary along the driveway where there's houses, I believe maybe next to the driveway, but I'm not sure. Are those still in the plan?
Yes, so there was a lot of conversation that happened during the ZBA process. And the civil plan had to change a bit, the trees and the bushes, it all had to move around to accommodate the view of the neighbors. So that's done in a gradual way, I believe. So we're sticking to the plans. That's the plan, yeah.
All right, thank you.
One other question, if I might. This piece of property is a pretty sensitive piece of property in terms of drainage.
Mhm.
And I'm sure that you've had endless conversation with the Board of Health about, because this is gonna be a septic system, obviously.
Yes,
And you gotta have leaching fields and that kind of stuff. As I said, all of that area feeds into a little brook called School Brook that has been contaminated for years and is not gonna get any better by having another septic system of this size at Emerson Field. Tell me what you've encountered with that, if anything.
so I wish we had our civil engineer, but my take on it is our property is gonna diminish some of the drainage or water issues that the neighbors were encountering, so they're not gonna get as much water as they're currently getting. So our project is going to help with that. I don't have much more to say about that topic. do you? No?
Well, two things, yeah, I mean, we have a water management system that's required, not septic, but for stormwater, so that will help neighbors. And then secondly, we had to obviously follow all the regulations for the septic system, which were met, and we have an order of conditions with the Conservation Commission. So,
We have an upcoming meeting with the Board of Health to review the septic system as well.
yeah, and they'll be monitoring during construction, et cetera, yeah.
That's it, thank you.
So Kevin stole the thunder, so I don't know if you wanted to go over that again. But essentially, I think during your meeting in December, you're gonna go over the findings, you're gonna go over the recommendations and figure out what it is that you as a town are interested in doing. And then you're gonna strategize around how to go about funding it, and there are various funding sources. Kevin knows far more than I do about this topic, so we can talk about it, but there are various funding sources depending on what you plan on putting in place. But if an intersection is what you want, or roundabout, sorry, it apparently costs more than $1 million and you have to go and chase a MassWorks grant, so
For a roundabout there?
things are not cheap.
No.
So, yeah. Anyways, Kevin touched on.
Let's move one point,
It's not
we're
sure. Yeah.
no idea yet what, if any, recommendations will come to
Yeah.
from an infrastructure standpoint. You know, traffic signals listed on there, I think it's just like idea of what could
Yeah.
come out of it. To Mr. Jackson's point, I mean, that's something that would change very much the character of that area and something we're sensitive to. But other concepts too, like a roundabout or other things, we'll see what the consultant brings us and MassDOT, and then we'll take a look at it and go from there. But nothing's at all been decided or really looked at or vetted.
And just for clarification, the project enables the town to go and pursue something like that. If the project didn't exist, the town would be in a position to chase that down.
I'm a little slow, a question for Kevin or Sam, I'm a little slow with details, so is all this available on
It will be on board docs in like 15 minutes,
okay,
yes.
so I can
Yes, this
I
is
can
the new
take
one,
my-
it'll be on board docs in 15
take
minutes.
my time to try to
Absolutely.
review it?
Yes.
Thank you.
Suzanne, one thing, could you touch on engagement, public engagement, like you're here tonight, we appreciate that, I know we talked about that at the project review meeting. What's that look like for neighbors who wanna engage?
So I'm planning on reaching out to the abutters, introducing myself, because from what I understand, they all changed since we last met with them. So maybe one is still there, I don't know. You don't like them, some of them? No, maybe not, never mind, yeah.
I'm in Brownwood Street.
Yeah, we only met at on the field, that's right.
Yes.
Anyway, so we're planning, or I'm planning on sending out a letter, cause I don't have your phone numbers and all that, so reintroducing myself, giving you a heads up on what's about to happen, and obviously, once we have a contractor lined up, we'll definitely be even more in touch to let you know the schedule, what's gonna happen, and is it gonna be noisy? Definitely planning on reaching out to the daycare that's next door, cause you know, kids take naps and it's gonna be noisy. So we'll be in touch with the abutters. We'll probably have a community meeting if, like we did in the past, if the community's interested in getting an update. We'll probably come back to the board, to you guys, if ladies, if you're interested in us coming back as well and giving you updates on where we stand with stuff. Probably maybe next spring, once we're like close to having everything lined up, and maybe we're about to maybe a month or two away from starting construction. I don't know, we need to think through it, but we're flexible and open in terms of how much communication you want and all that, and it's an open door. If you have questions, I'm reachable, you can call, you can email, we're there.
At a certain point, you'll share that information so they can get in touch, perfect.
Sure. And unless it's on the next page, could you talk a little bit about, cause I attended the meetings that you had at the Emerson Center.
Huh?
Can you talk a little bit about the Topsfield resident priority when you're renting?
Yes, so I think we're planning on making Topsfield residents, what's the word again? A preference in
Local
the
preference.
affordable, yeah, local preference. However, it's something we have to negotiate with the state. So we're gonna ask for the max and then we'll see where we land. So the max is 70%. The likelihood is we're not gonna get that, but we'll make the ask and see where that lands,
And when does that negotiation happen?
probably in the spring.
And then for those units that are defined as Topsfield local preference, do they remain that way? So if it's a Topsfield resident that gets it and then they end up moving, does that unit still stay as Topsfield? Or is it that number stays the same throughout the life
I
of the?
don't know,
Okay.
do you?
I don't know the answer to that, but we can get back to you on that
Okay.
one.
Thank you. And then I'm assuming in the comprehensive permit, it talks about that local preference definition? Is that something the state determines?
Yeah.
Are you done? Michelle, are you done? So I got two questions. One, when this was first starting up, there was talk about it being primarily a low income housing, which is extremely low income levels. Now you talk about it being affordable, which has income levels associated with it, which look a little more likely that some Topsfield people could apply. Could you talk about what the transition from low income to affordable?
I think it's semantics, but go ahead,
It's
yes.
semantics.
Yeah.
I think in our industry,
There's actual
people,
definitions with dollars associated with them.
if you wanna get in deep with it, yes, you could say that, but generally colloquially, most people talk about affordable or low income in exchange equally. But you know, right now, the income mix is very similar to what it was when we started. For rental housing, for a project like this, using low income housing tax credits, as we talked about earlier, you can't be above 60% of the area median income, that's the maximum. Which is still very low income, I think that's
Yeah, I looked it up.
70,000 for one
Looked it up,
person.
for one person, it's 60% is roughly 50,000. For two people, it's roughly 58,000.
It's a little higher than that, but yes, it's roughly around there, yeah. And then we have other units which are even lower income than that, we have tiers which are required by the state. So, yeah,
50%, 30%.
The other question was, there is a lovely naturally occurring sort of school brook wetland area around it, tree belt area that extends curls up around towards Howlett Street a little bit. This is on the east side of the property. And then also abuts Deer Run and Town Lane. I'm presuming that the integrity of all that, since it begins with a wetland area abutting the field,
We're not touching the
all that is
wetlands.
gonna remain
Yeah, we're not touching any of that.
unspoiled.
We're, I forget the exact percentage, but I think we're only building on maybe a third of the property. How large is it, 12 acres? I forget, we're only building on a third. Mainly because of the wetlands and because the water table is so high, we're gonna have to bring in soil to make it 4 or 5 feet higher.
Oh, the leach field.
No, our building,
Oh, wow,
yeah, the water table is really high.
wow. So that's gonna be a very specialized kind of soil for 30-year, 50-year integrity. Wow. Thank you.
Sure.
Unless there were more questions, I know we did have at least one question from the public.
Yeah.
No?
Okay. Yeah,
We're all set
yeah.
now?
No, Sarah Beck, 16 Pemberton Road. Just I love the drawing, I love the solar panels and the charging stations. I'm just concerned about the intersection and even without this project, speaking as a person who's been standing near that intersection for the past several months on Friday afternoons, the traffic going through there is mad. People drive too fast. They're bombing around the corner from Main Street onto High Street. And if there was somebody coming out slowly out of trying to go left and they're bombing, it's just terrifying as it is now. And I've seen at least 2 or 3 near misses there already. But, so if there's an opportunity for the town to do something better there while we have it, that would be great. That's all.
I think just one asterisk to that, because we did cover this too, was it 3 years ago we were at the library? I don't remember now. This gives us the opportunity to look at it and maybe apply for some grants, but it is not the project's responsibility to solve a pre-existing
But maybe
issue,
somehow.
just to not make it worse. Yep.
Exactly. It's a little bit dangerous. I could imagine somebody coming out of there trying to go left. And these people, they can't really see. They're bombing around that corner fast.
And this project itself actually opens up for, like, for example, one funding source is MassWorks. It usually ties to
There
a
you go.
project, so the fact that we're doing the road safety audit as we're working through the project, depending on what the recommendations are and if they're appropriate and the board agrees, and we reach out to
A lot of
the
it's
neighbor.
right at rush hour when they're going to New Hampshire and they're going up 97 and they back up sometimes and then they're all getting impatient and it's sort of scary there.
It's a tough intersection.
And there's a lot of people who live in that neighborhood that are
Right,
concerned about the same thing you're talking about.
yeah.
Thank you, Sarah.
Great.
I would add that, that intersection by itself is bad enough,
Yes.
okay? And I take issue with him talking about it. We talked about this 3 years ago. I'm the oldest guy in the group, and we've been talking about that for 15 years, okay? We've talked about roundabouts, we've talked about stoplights, we've talked about all that stuff.
Four-way
And we have
stop
never
signs.
been able to figure out a good way to really do anything
Right.
about it. I'm hoping that this doesn't make things worse. That's about all I can say.
It won't make things better.
It won't make things better, but I hope it doesn't make things worse.
Unless we can come up with an improved system or method for managing the traffic, that's possible.
Well,
And that's being looked at by the road safety audit, right? So,
let's go
Alright.
to, let's go to the
One
let's go to the people that tell people where to drive when they get on their phone and give them the route, okay?
Have
Let's
them around their
let's
phone.
get it.
I mean, this
Let's-
is what it is. It's
put them around Topsfield.
It's them the great.
speed
Yeah, one
bumps.
more. Yeah, this is quick, I hope. I know that this question came up at the meetings as well, when it comes to the calculation of assets for the 60%. A question came up that, is your house included? So if you own a house, is that included?
So our understanding that, both of us would need to go and talk to the actual expert is it's based on your income, not on your asset. So if your asset is generating income, it's the income that's
Okay.
taken into account. If your asset is sitting in a bank account that, has less than 1% a year, that's not really gonna make much of a difference unless you're sitting on $1 million. But it's the income, not the asset.
Okay.
So
The
Because
question that was
originally-
asked last time was if you sell your house in that year, is it taken into account? And my bad for not going back and asking the question internally. I haven't followed up on that.
Because the original definition for low income had an asset value associated, which is what I think you're referring to.
Right, and people are asking, do I have to include my house value in that? So you, if you don't sell your house, you're saying straight up, it's just your, earning
Well,
anything you're
she
investing.
first said she has to ask the expert, so
Yeah.
asterisk everything right now,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
That would be
No, that's
something,
fair.
if we can get clarity on that, that would be helpful.
just one
Yes, sir.
clarification, we'll get back to you on that one because it is important, but my understanding is that it's not just about the income that's being currently generated, it's what your potential income is. So for instance, if you have a house that's worth $500,000 and you don't have a mortgage on it, I think the state's gonna look at that and say, okay, what would $500,000 generate of income? And they will add that to your, whatever your regular income is. And generally speaking, people who have $500,000 worth of cash value are not going to rent here. I mean, it just generally, it's people who are on much tighter income. But as, people sometimes don't have a lot of income, but they have assets. But we'll get you a full answer to it, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, well, thank you very much
There
for
was-
coming.
I
Oh,
I
one
have
more.
a question.
Yes, absolutely.
And you just mentioned building up of the soil. I live at 25 Howlett Street, which is directly behind Emerson Field. And I know that Cone Tech was out there last week doing an assessment. Did you
Yeah.
get a report from them yet?
Not yet, and are bad for not informing folks about their, I don't know how noisy it was, so.
It's not the noise,
Yeah,
it's
okay,
just
Surprised to see someone.
I just thought that the soil question was solved and it this late in the game to have someone out there saying that they're assessing whether or not it's feasible to put a building of that size out there because of the wetness, and my concerns are if you're building up with soil, if the soil isn't strong enough, what is that doing to the houses that are right there? What is that going to do to my yard? Is it going to do to my foundation? What is that gonna do to water in my basement? There are a lot of houses right there. And I that made me very nervous to see at this stage of the game, someone out there digging holes, assessing soil quality and soil strength. It sort of put me aback because I thought that had been resolved with other soil testing, so I'm not sure what their report will say, if that's just gonna make it more expensive for you to build something there, and then and will their report also address the abutters' safety of their property?
There was a specific reason they went back.
So, yeah, there's two different things that we looked at, right? There's in terms of the percolation of the soil, right? That was one thing that has more to do with drainage and the septic. This is more about structure of the soil, which we
Which
may
is why I'm so
Right.
concerned.
But it's the structure of our building, and obviously, we're going to follow the engineer's advice on that, like, we don't, neither of us get paid enough money to make those type of decisions, and they're going to do those tests, they're basically confirming some of their assumptions that they have already, and they wanted to do it closer to the time that we're going to be building, and so that's why they were out there. And when we have the report, and then we'll identify, you know, okay, these are the properties of soil and this is the type of foundation system that we're going to put in. There are a number of different types of systems that we can use. And again, Suzanne or I, we're not gonna have anything to do with that. That'll be the structural engineer and the geotechnical engineer who'll make those decisions, or at least provide us with options. And I think it's more than reasonable for voters to ask us about that, and we can share that with you and talk about it.
It'd just be helpful to know if, you know, if it's in consideration of the surroundings, not just the actual building, whether it's safe for the building, or is it safe for the people right next to it as well.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
If you put a large weight on top of a hard water table area, is it gonna compress the water table under the building and push it out to the perimeter? I guess that's your
That's my
question, right?
Yeah.
Well, that would mean that our building would be sinking at that point, which I think would not be a good thing. So
My
I
high
think,
school was built,
Could. You
not
never
the
know.
high school I went to, but when they rebuilt the new high school, they put it on wetlands and it sunk a little bit
Yeah,
every year.
we're hoping
So
to
I'm
avoid
coming
that.
from, I'm coming from a little bit of fear from
For
the
sure.
past.
for sure, and in instances like
When the
that, there's
last
only
one-
so many options, right? You can
Right.
replace the soil, right? You can remove it and put in structural soil that you don't have to worry about, and that will drain properly and that will hold the building up, or you can do piers,
Okay.
right, which go below that, right, and then again, I'm not an engineer, I play one sometimes, but honestly, these are very competent engineers, and we don't want the building to fall down. So, yeah, but we're also happy to share with you and have
Okay.
conversations about, here are the results, here's what we're looking at for options, and this is what we're going to do, and if you as a butters have questions for the engineers, we're happy to have a meeting or something like
Yeah,
that.
and is your contact information on the presentation that will be on?
I was gonna say, I have Suzanne.
I'm just a consultant.
Oh, she's got
Yeah,
your
yeah,
card.
yeah,
But Suzanne, your contact information, if other questions do come up, is in the
Kevin has
presentation?
it, Sam has it, yeah.
We have
We'll
it.
get it, okay, great. Alright, thank you.
Can I just say one thing?
Editorial comment, go ahead.
So, having been around town a long time and having been on the select board for almost 2 years now, and you know, it's nice to see a well-organized, professional organization with bringing all the professional services together coherently to
Thank
do
you.
this in a good way.
Thank you, I thought you were gonna give us
I
grief.
agree. There's plenty of time.
That comes later.
Oh, I remember Bob 3 years back at the community meetings, fish sheets and all of his questions. It was great.
Bob doesn't live there anymore.
Yeah, I'm still concerned.
Alright, great.
My
Thank
heart
you
is
so
still-
much and we hope to see you again soon.
I'd like to make one editorial comment. I'm
Last
sure.
one, then we'll move on.
Last one, we gotta move on. I'm sure that you people have decided that this is a pretty sensitive piece of property in the town of Topsfield.
Yes, yes.
Okay. I can remember teaching, playing baseball with the Topsfield Athletic Association on that field over and over and over again for years. A lot of people didn't want to give that up. But we've moved on beyond that and they've got places to play now that we don't need Emerson Field, so there it's set. But a lot of people think it's a pretty special place. And the town needs special places like that today, confronting what we're faced with today in terms of housing. And so I'm glad to move on. We've got some issues, I think, still to resolve. I think the biggest one is maybe your ability to fund this, and you said you got a $5.5 million debt, so you gotta figure out how to do that.
Well, that's
And
our mortgage.
I suspect you can handle that.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, we gotta move on.
Thank you.
And when I was playing softball between games, we'd go out and catch pollywogs and frogs in that little pond there. So, yeah.
Much to the coach's consternation, right? Come back to them.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
Good luck, Marshall.
Come back someday.
Turn it off, please.
Alright, so moving on to item B, US bicycle Route 1, which is not.
What does that mean?
No, it's not technically, but it's the what we're looking at, and I'm gonna, if it's alright, tag team with member Hook. So we had a gentleman reach out from Michigan who was helping coordinate nationally what they're referring to as a Route 1 bicycle route, blue lane to the coast, up and down. No cost for the town. All they're asking for is us to be on board with the concept, and they will include us in promotional material about part of the trail. In this case, it's not on Route 1, it's off the rail trail. Which we do encourage people to use for bicycle purposes.
So it's just the rail trail?
There is no cost, there is no change. All we're doing is saying, yes, you can designate our existing trail as part of US Bicycle Route 1.
The Rail Trails Association, our Rail Trail Association Chair Joe Geller is part of the conversation. He's all for it. He also mentioned that same stretch is part of two or three other trails that travel either from Boston or up and down the East Coast. So this will be another trail that people will be identified as through our rail trail.
It basically, in the simplest terms, is a promotion of Topsfield to bicyclists.
Okay, so it's just the rail trail, because I was having trouble with the map.
Yes.
Just the existing rail trail, nothing more, nothing less.
What they're looking for, Matt, in order to, from a MassDOT requires either the town administrator and or the select board to sort of ratify or the decision to allow them to market. And so I believe there's a document on board docs ready for signature. Just wanted to ensure that the select board had a chance to ratify.
Well, I love it, so I'll make a motion. Vote to approve the proposed route for the US Bicycle Route 1 and submit a letter of support to Massachusetts Department of Transportation.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? On the motion. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? None.
How would I know that Michelle would vote for that?
That's easy.
Alright, next up I'm
Good idea.
actually going to guess that we have some folks here to talk about the traffic. If the chiefs are here, I would wonder if the board is amenable to moving up the traffic discussion. The
Item
chief
F.
is here.
Hey Kevin,
Where are we
I
on?
think we're gonna talk about traffic if you wanna grab the chiefs real quick.
And they're moving up that,
You talking about item F?
Yes, item F.
I will talk about that a bit.
So,
Do,
is there anybody opposed to us moving item F up in the agenda?
No opposition.
I don't know.
Alright, great, let's move to item F, the Traffic Advisory Committee recommendations from Police Chief Hovey regarding North Street and Ipswich Road.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, select board members, thank you for having us this evening to discuss. We've been really busy with the Traffic Advisory Committee. We've had a meeting on October 28th, also November 13th. We discussed 5 different locations where there's traffic concerns. We also talked about the problem with e-bikes, and we also talked about the Emerson project. I'm here tonight to present to you the data from the North Street and a recommendation that we voted unanimously on a motion that was made to change the speed limit consistent throughout the whole, all of North Street. So on our data, it's reflecting that basically when you look at on November 2nd, 1978, the select board voted to have the speed limits from Ipswich Road 1.16 miles to be 25 miles per hour. Right about the south entrance, from that going 0.34 miles to increase the speed limit to 30 miles an hour. And then approximately number 50 North Street to the Ipswich line, reduce it back to 25 miles an hour. So when we looked at this and we looked at the data and the number of vehicles, we average about 2,500 vehicles per week on that roadway. With the average speed limits approximately, I think the 85th percentile was about 34 miles an hour. We decided.
That's not actual speed limits, that's actual speed of the traffic, of the actual traffic.
The 85th percentile of the speeds, yes. So we actually had a long discussion about it, and we did have a neighborly meeting. We probably had 30 people show up at the Softman's house. We discussed all of the alternatives, some of the suggestions that would make that more palatable for the residents of that community. And what we want to come forward with is a recommendation for the board to take into consideration that we have the speed limit consistent from Ipswich Road onto North Street all the way to the Ipswich line to be 25 miles per hour and not going from 25 to 30 to 25, to have a consistent speed limit. So the first step is when traffic advisory is making a recommendation. The second step is have the select board vote on this, and then we would have to write a letter to the state indicating that we are looking to change the speed limit of that roadway, but it needs to come from the select board.
But that's not a state road, is it?
It's not a state
Local
road,
road?
it's just notification to the state,
Towns can't just randomly change their speeds.
so it's a process.
Can't randomly do it.
We can't just say this road is
So we
15
vote
miles
on
an
it, we
hour.
make a recommendation, select board chair will send a letter to the state, and then the speeds come, and then we can change the speed. So I just bring it to your attention on how the process is going forward for this.
So you wanna make the whole length 25?
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's our recommendation, it was voted unanimously of the traffic advisory committee on October 28th.
And that's the only recommendation you're looking for our vote on tonight?
Then we have a second project, we received an email, I think, select board chair received the email about sign pollution in the town of Topsfield. They indicated 4 different signs. I drove all around Topsfield, I could only locate 3 out of the 4. And then we looked at them, and one of the ones was, it says dangerous intersection on Ipswich Road, where it used to be a dangerous intersection, but since we changed the configuration of Camp Meeting Road and have all the vehicles going up the Ipswich Lane, we eliminated a dangerous intersection at Ipswich Road and Camp Meeting. So there's still a sign that
So the
says
other side.
dangerous intersection ahead, but there's no more dangerous intersection ahead. So that one we took into consideration again, the traffic advisory board voted unanimously to have the highway department remove that one sign. The 2 other signs, one said children, it's just a sign on a tree on Perkins Road. And we felt that, you know what, so it says children on it, maybe that's a good thing. So if there was an accident, we're not gonna be the cause of a child getting struck because we moved a sign. And then there was another sign on Salem Road that said, speed limit reduced ahead, but in reality, the speed limit increases ahead. Because it goes to the statutory requirements that any street that has houses, greater than 200 feet apart for a stretch of a quarter of a mile, statutorily is 40 miles per hour. So there was no reason to take that sign down. If that's good, that sign will slow some traffic down. We thought that was a good thing, so we don't want to be the cause of that either. So the two recommendations is to ask you for your favorable vote for the traffic advisory motions to have consistent speed limits on North Street of 25 miles per hour, and also to remove the sign dangerous intersection on Ipswich Road.
Will you have to add or change out signage on North Street?
So we will be responsible for buying the 25 mile per hour speed limits and posting them on both ends.
You might know where you can find those 25 mile an hour signs, an extra one.
Involve a high school prank?
I really appreciate the traffic advisory committee taking a look at this and putting the proposal together. The soft ones are here. They've been obviously advocates since they live on that road to try to bring some more safety to the road, and I think this really will help them, so I appreciate the collaboration.
I hope so, and I'm looking forward to it. One of my neighbors is John O'Brien here, lives across the street, has two little boys. I hate to see any children walk that road, because at 10 minutes to 6 every morning, I see the guy go about 40, 50, 60 miles an hour down my street.
Oh, jeez.
And it's a cut through, there's nothing we can do about it, it is what it is, but at least we're
So-
starting.
Except put a police car there in some of the mornings, you could do that.
How about a speed bump? They do that a lot in Ireland, really, and it works.
It's a start, we're 25 miles an hour is a start.
That was
Let's
actually,
start somewhere.
so my question being a cynic, does this make it that we can pull more people over? Do we expect that dropping the speed limit is actually gonna change people's behavior?
I don't think changing the speed limit is gonna change people's behavior. People drive at the speed that they're comfortable with. Again, more signage, more, like you're using a decoy oil, decoy vehicle, more police presence, sometimes is more effective. I think those speed indicators, flashing lights, showing something what you're actually driving at. The way they make cars more soundproof and they travel faster, and people feel more comfortable. This is a problem on every single street, so, we have been so busy with the number of complaints that we're receiving, but our enforcement is stronger than ever. We have more car stops this year than historical we have had any other year, so the officers are doing a phenomenal job out there. It's just the volume of cars, the speed of the cars, making the models of the car, it is challenging, but if we can do anything to prevent a tragic incident, I think this is why we're here making a recommendation to you.
So you touch on what is my question, which should not be perceived as not supporting this, but why this road? And because you yourself have acknowledged that it's the biggest complaint we get from everybody. Everyone is driving too fast on every road in town. I live on one of those roads.
Right, I think we're looking at this roadway because the inconsistent speeds, why is it 25 for 0.16 miles, why is it 30 for 0.34, why does it drop down to 25 for another 0.6 tenths of a mile for a total stretch of a roadway of 1.13 miles, so it's more of the consistencies where we don't see that on many other roads where the speeds change so dramatically in a short period of time.
But they do on Parsonage.
Well, they do. And I'm not, to be clear, I'm not making this about my road. I am just asking.
You can make it about my road.
Well, you can make it about your road. It's the same road. But
I feel everybody's pain here.
Yeah.
I totally feel it, and it's especially bad on North Street when it's Quad Park is open. So we're one up on the park.
Plus you're right off of Route 1.
Yes.
I mean, it is a cut through. I
It
mean,
is
they
a-
all come down there in the mornings to cut off the Route 1, and at night they come down to cut down, They do that to avoid the light, I'm sure they. I mean, there's a lot of kids in the neighborhood, there's the park. And when we spoke to the police department in our meeting, when they're doing 30, they're gonna stop them and issue them a ticket at 40 is when they can give you a ticket. So, they're going down the road at 40 miles an hour, they think it's okay. Because in between it's 30 miles an hour. So they're going up a little, so if we can lower it down and keep them down, have a little more police presence there and let these people know that they're gonna be stopped and they're gonna get a ticket, so.
So can I make a motion?
That's exactly the idea.
So, to be clear, I'm gonna vote in favor of this, so everything I'm saying you should not perceive as negative.
I'm an advocate for yours.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanna be clear that I fully expect, in as much as anyone pays attention to our meetings, which is probably not a lot, but anyone who does, they will probably be knocking on your door to say, oh wait, you did it on North Street. Maybe you need to do it on X street.
And we realize that, if we make a decision for one street, then everybody's gonna want the same capable decision for their street. But we take a look at it by all the data we collect, we go out there, the speed indicators, the enforcement, the selective enforcement, and looking at the speeds, and is it greater than reasonable, that speed? So when we look at a medium problem, then we take it, we really look at it, but we take every complaint that we receive with great consideration. And I think we have a phenomenal traffic advisory committee that's a good representation that looks at this and holds everyone to a high standard. And this recommendation is coming from the traffic advisory committee.
Is it possible to have speed cameras that would issue a ticket if they caught you speed, like an automatic thing?
Well, there's a lot, everything has a cost associated with it, they do have those, that they can take a picture of it.
Yeah.
Some people are gonna claim privacy issues, some people are that, the technology there.
They're illegal in Massachusetts.
They're illegal?
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Ah.
See,
See, in Ireland, we got both those and speed bumps and they work.
Alright, well, with that.
So I'm gonna make a motion to vote to approve the recommendation from the Traffic Advisory Committee.
Second.
Any other questions or discussions?
Vote to approve the recommendation of the Traffic Advisory Committee regarding North Street and Ipswich Road. I can't change it, right? So
You've already made it and it's the one that's there, so.
Totally in favor.
When will it start?
But we have to, in the minutes, we have to reflect the two specific
Right.
recommendations.
As presented.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I wanted to advocate for your street, I will.
Well, just come to, drive down Parsonage, you'll see the bend in the road where where it goes from 30 to 20 and then something else on the other side of
What
that.
direction you're
Yeah, no,
traveling
because it's
to.
not, it's actually inconsistent. If you're going one way, the speed is one thing. If you're going the other,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
speed is something else.
Actually, they just
Bear
pretty
with
thickly
me for
settled for 30
just
miles
a
an hour.
moment.
See you later.
Thank you very much.
Because
I
we
want you
got
to
a
do a
lot of
drive-by and
things
check out
for
the speed sign there.
Police.
And park a car in my driveway,
Is
for
that
God's
them?
sake.
Liquor.
The fake one that you park over there by Hippie Hill, just leave it in my
I wanted to
driveway.
comment Dick before liquor license.
No, in the driveway it won't get hit.
Convict sheet 30 seconds and
Potholes are useful
Cheap,
too, as a lot of
cheap.
people know.
So we only have 4 minutes left.
It's more cheap. Alright, we've got a lot of police stuff on the agenda tonight. Alright,
stuff.
so let's just go back to item C, which is not police, but there's a reason for that, because it is related to item D or not. But so over to Mr. Hartunian about the common victualers licenses, please.
simply put, this is our annual renewal. We do it every year. This year we've started the process. We're still waiting for some final information to come back. We'll look to put that on the next meeting on the 15th to have.
Oh, so we're tabling
We're gonna
common
table that.
victualers? Okay.
And I will say that one particular establishment which had some zoning issues last year, we're working through some issues they continue to have this year, so there'll be some more information between now and then. I will be
Okay.
meeting with them tomorrow.
I noticed there was one on the liquor license that was not on the victualer's license. Is that the thing we're talking about?
Yes.
Possibly.
Can I ask though, and you have to remind me this every year, and I write it down, I just didn't look it up. There's a few establishments that I would have thought of for victualers that are not on here, and I know we're not voting on it tonight, but just to make sure that they're there when we do vote it, that's Alex's,
Oh, they're on for, they're on.
they're on there.
You're there.
Okay, they weren't on the one over the weekend that I looked
Where are you getting?
Topsfield House in the Meadows, Aggie.
Part of the reason we're pushing it is just cause things
in
are coming.
Bagel Bend?
Some of
They're on.
it's coming
They
in,
will be,
it was coming
okay.
in real time, that's why we're pushing it off.
Okay, alright. Alright, then we'll move on to item D, liquor license, 2026 renewals. So again, over to Mr. Hartunian.
So we wanna have a quick conversation in general terms. We will be pushing the vote for this off until the next meeting as well on the 15th. I will say, we're still waiting for the state to approve the town meeting package license modifications. So that's just something I wanna put out there. It's not directly tied into their renewal, but eventually be incorporated into two of our establishments on their liquor licenses, the ability to sell for off-site consumption, the liquor. But that we're waiting on, because I know that would probably be a question that would be asked. But the other item that we just wanted to bring up too is for some of the event and conference center licenses where we have events. Many years ago, there was attached in some of the conditions, any event, either depending on the license you're looking at, says anything over 99 or 100 or greater, requires a police detail. Last year, Chief and I began the conversation around looking at data and the real impact of having a detail officer at the events, relative to the size, relative to what we've seen for disruption and issues and things being problematic at events. And one of the things we talked about was really what the need is, and we wanna be business friendly, obviously, we wanna be supportive, and the data shows that we might wanna make a modification, we wanna have that conversation with the board. So we've talked about it, I think, at the end of last year, heading into this year, and wanna just make sure it's on your radar, that it's something that Chief and I have been talking about. We will come with a proposal in 2 weeks formally, probably discuss it maybe even at the work session next week, just to prepare everybody for it. But just wanted to make sure I prefaced that. I don't know, Chief, if you had anything you wanted to add.
No, the dynamics have really changed when we look at a restaurant coming into town, convention center, event centers. So do they all require a police officer, a detail based upon that number? That number was a recommendation by the prior administration. It wasn't what Captain Bell and myself came up for as a reasonable number. We do have some really concerns about wedding venues. But we also look at sort of the dynamics that, you know, we can only control a liquor license issued by the select board, by the town. But there are wedding venues that allow a caterer to come in with their own liquor license, and we have no control of it. They can have 300 police officers there, operate, serve an open bar, and we have no control of it. We don't have police presence there and stuff. So there's a lot of dynamics that we're taking a look at. This is why the conversation started a while back, and we're gonna continue those discussions and be better prepared to answer all of your questions in the next couple of weeks. But we're looking at everything, every component of it.
Thank you, Chief.
So the intention is to kind of take a holistic not necessarily standardized, but a holistic view on the 99 number.
If we should make, after all these years and having real data associated with it, is this something we should consider to be, we don't wanna put our businesses at a competitive disadvantage. And at the same time, make sure it's safe. And
Safe.
balancing the two of those things is really what we wanted to look at and make sure we're doing right by all those. So we'll talk about this at the work session, and then we'll probably, in next week and then the week after that, we'll look to have a vote to do the renewals and make any modifications on the police detail component of it if necessary.
So we're postponing item D as well.
Yeah, simply put now, we can move on to.
Item E, used car dealership.
Excuse me,
Yeah,
can I ask a question?
absolutely.
Chief, you just made a statement a bit ago that concerns me. If one of these organizations brings in a caterer that has their own liquor license, they can do whatever they want based on that liquor license. So that seems to counter what we would like to do as a town in terms of trying to control what's going on at some of these venues.
I've always had a concern about that, but again, it's not a license that we issued, so we don't set the parameters. They got their license from the ABCC with different stipulations. So, you know, like the Evermore were the prior owners, they have events there all the time with 140, 50, 60 people, but they bring in a caterer with their own license, and we have no control of it. Connemara Farm does the same things, you know, we haven't had any incidents, thankfully, but they do have a requirement, they need to notify the police department of the town 48 hours in advance, and they need to supply a certificate of insurance. And they're really compliant to that, but that's it, other than that, we don't.
So if we wanted to change that, how do we change that?
Can't.
I don't know if it's a town.
Probably
by-
can't.
I don't know if it's a town bylaw, when they're going for zoning, I don't know if that's an issue.
I think when it involves the ABCC, which I believe their state licenses probably the caterers are with,
There's our state
they're
licenses.
very prescriptive and supersede almost entirely any local bylaw that might conflict with it. So we always have to give deference to the state. It's the way it is in every community. It's the way it is in Topsfield. Topsfield controls the local license, and the license that we gave, they associated a number that they felt they wanted some oversight of presence.
So I guess the idea would be a caterer is gonna be operating, they hope, in any number of towns and cities, and so if they had to go for a license in each one, they'd be really.
Put it very bluntly, and we'll talk more again next Monday. These vendors go to many communities, the state oversees that operation across many boundaries. The town of Topsfield created a very specific requirement for those who got a liquor license locally, and that's what we can control. It just conflicts with what the state says is safe and appropriate.
So that just means we gotta live with it.
Yes.
The state component of it, we can make changes locally.
I understand.
Yeah.
It's a state organization that grants that, apparently. Enough said, thank you.
Alright, then let's move on to item E, used car dealership licenses. It's Captain Bell's time to shine, right?
That's right, absolutely. Good evening, I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Over the last few weeks, I've been conducting the used car licensing for the town here, the 5 used car dealers that we have. And the inspections really consist of me going in, checking their books, making sure that all their vehicles that they've sold in the last year are documented. What they have on site currently is documented, and I do an official inspection on several vehicles depending on the size of the dealership. Also check their licensing, make sure that's posted, make sure all the consumer notification is posted on each vehicle, and the appropriate paperwork has been filled out to apply for the license for the upcoming year. Happy to say that I have no reservations on any of the class 2 used car dealers right now. Everyone was 100% in compliance. I had no issues whatsoever this year. So I think we've developed a great system going in that everyone is well aware of what we're looking for, and everyone's just in compliance. So I wish I had some more to give you guys, but everything was great this year.
In certain times, no news is good news.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I can't speak for all the owners, more than willing to work. If there are any issues, they said, what can we do better for you? It is a pleasure. I usually don't see these people once a year, and I usually get myself catching up with how things are going with them and everything like that. So it was a pleasure working with them this year, and I have no reservations whatsoever.
So the class 2 license,
Yes.
that's restricted to automobiles, no trucks,
Used
no,
cars.
no
So-
large vans.
The difference between the class 1 and class 2 is new vehicles for a class 1 versus used car dealership. So a class 1 would be a Chevy dealership or, a Ram dealership, things like that.
But no trucks,
I'm sorry?
no trucks.
It's the dealer license,
It's
it's
the
not a
dealer.
class
It
2
would be trucks.
vehicle
Yeah.
license.
They can do
Yeah,
trucks.
yeah, so not, class A, class B type thing with licenses, driving, but the actual dealership license.
Okay,
So
thanks.
we have no class 1 dealers in Topsfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you planning an announcement?
Yeah,
All business is good business, I'm told, so anybody who wants to open up can open up. Move to approve the 2026 Class 2 used auto dealer license renewals for the following establishments in the town of Topsfield with an expiration date of December 31st, 2026. Signature Motors, George Baptista, Eurasian Imports, Inc., Topsfield Motors Company, LLC, and Emporia Motors.
Second.
One of these is a wholesaler, right, working out of an office?
So George Baptista, he has an office here. Has 0 cars for sale on site. If I had to, I don't wanna speak for him, but I'd say it's more of a hobby for him. He probably sells on average 2 to 3 cars a year. It's very minimal. But he likes to get his hands dirty and work on some cars and do his thing with that. And it authorizes him to go to auctions as well, which is helpful, so.
Okay.
He'll go find things he's gotta fix up and sell them, and sometimes keep for his own.
Interesting, okay.
Any other questions on this item? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. We've done traffic advisory committee, so next up, we're going to item G, contract acceptance for new firearms.
These are the approved firearms from town meeting, from a year and a half ago. I can say firsthand that I unfortunately haven't had a chance to myself shoot these guns, but I know that they came in right afterwards. I didn't have time, unfortunately, next time for sure. But they have technology that allows our officers to have state-of-the-art ability with their firearms, that Chief can speak to the specifics of, but glad we're able to support our team and give them the tools necessary to keep them safe and our community safe.
Thank you, Mr. Town Administrator, Chairman and Select Board members. So this was, as the Town Administrator indicated, this is from the STM FY25. Voted the town approval for $18,000 for the purchase of new firearms with optics, a red dot optic on it, flashlights, and a holster. And so we went out to, did the procurement process, found a vendor to, that we could work with, and then we purchased that, and this is for the payment of that contract that we have with AMCHIA Wholesale Dealership for the amount of, well, the total is $26,160.96. They did give us $315 trade-in value for each of our guns. So again, that came in at $85.05 as a trade-in value of that. So the total purchase of the holsters, the optics, the flashlights, and the guns was $26,160.96, and that's what the contract has to go for. So looking for a favorable vote for that contract. The contract in the town of Topsfield and the AMCHIA Wholesale.
This was the source of my confusion though, cause the contract review form is for the 17,695, which is under the 18,000, the STM. So I think more question over here is the contract acceptance for the 26 or for the 17,695?
So the motion has to be for 26 because that's what the contract is for, but what we are spending is for the 17.
So the trade-in is with the selling vendor or with somebody else
It's still with the same vendor.
selling?
It's a separate transaction in essence.
We have contracted to buy $26,000 in change in firearms and associated equipment. Our ultimate expenditure will only be $17,000 and change, but the contracted amount is the 26.
But how do we know they don't back out of, we buy that from them and then they don't buy them back from us?
That's not in front of us. Only the contract
It
of
is,
26.
because the contract review form is in front of us and the STM is only for only $18,000. The monies for it are only $18,000.
I think there might be a quote or signed PO in there saying that they would do the credit.
I know that our town accountant did sign off, and that's one of the critical components, make sure with the contract, associated with the contract, that there's proper funding. So I know that she in this case is netting it out. I think that the contract review form also, the internal document does the same, but I believe the contract itself stipulates that 26.
No, well, we've got three different things in front of us. One that's for 17, one that's for 8.5 or whatever, and one that's for 26.
It does in their contract that they have their remit payment to Armchair Wholesale, drawer number 3441 PO Box blank. They do actually reference the 8505 in that document, the credit, so that it is documented that we will be receiving that, and that is a PO for all intents and purposes.
Yep.
And a PO is by definition a contract.
That's page 6 of the PDF. Yeah, good enough for me. Thank you.
Oh, good. Okay, I like that, good.
Right, and
Accounts payable follow-up.
will these be here in time for the small firearms training in 2 weeks' time? 1 week time, something like that. There are.
They're not backing out. We're already-
Don't put that in the minutes.
How did he know?
Okay, any other serious questions?
Have we done a motion yet? I've lost track.
Do it up.
Did you read it?
We have not.
Vote to approve a contract between the town of Topsfield and Amchar Wholesale Incorporated of Rochester, New York for the purchase of new firearms with optics, flashlights, and holsters in the amount of $26,160.96.
Second.
Alright, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. And then the next one, are we still doing this? The
Yes.
Canine Cruiser.
So, I'll just be very high level and turn this over to Chief, but we're very grateful for our partnership with many local authorities, including Environmental Police, who's in the past donated a few vehicles to the town when they've identified a need. The mutual partnership, friendship, and allows us to sometimes be very beneficial of their generosity, and this is an example of that. They identified that, we do, and we've done it somewhat purposely with some of our constraints locally, do take full advantage of our vehicles till the very last minute sometimes. And that was identified, they identified a need, not asked, but identified on their own that our canine unit was being transported in a
2014
Fusion. And they said we can help you guys out. And so when they retired a vehicle out, they offered it to the town at no cost. And so kudos to the captain, the chief for their relationships and the rest of the team and our partnership. Thank you to the Environmental Police for their support, and that's what's in front for the donation and the acceptance. I don't know, Chief, you want to add more detail to that?
No, pretty much that's a summary of it, so it was, to my surprise, I received a call from the surplus person from the Environmental Police, making an offer to us that they were surplusing a fully outfitted 2017 Ford Expedition, 115,000 miles on it, but the benefits are it's all outfitted, so it's outfitted with all the lights, the sirens, the full-size kennel, this hot, what is it called, it's a pop and pop system that actually detects temperature and battery voltage. So if the temperature increases too high in the vehicle, it sets off all the lights and the sirens and alerts the dog handler to let the dog out. If there's a low voltage battery, it alerts the dog handler and stuff. So it's a safety feature built into the vehicle for the protection and safety of the canine. So, and so again, we went and looked at it. It was in great shape. We took the vehicle to New Meadows and had them go through it. They said it was in phenomenal shape. It needed, I think, 2 tires. It was about the only expense of the vehicle. But when we looked at the blue book value of it, we're looking at a vehicle that has a blue book value of $14,000, a lighting system that is over $8,000, a full kennel system of $6,000, and the temperature regulator about another $1,500-1,600. So it's to be able to acquire that vehicle free of charge from the Environmental Police, our partner agency that we have a phenomenal relationship, is phenomenal. So I ask you to vote favorable for this gift acceptance of 2017 Ford Expedition.
Is it an Expedition or Explorer?
Expedition.
Just wanted to note that for the motion.
That's all.
About how often do you use that for transporting the police dog?
So we have our sergeant, detective sergeant, has the K9 Astra with them 24/7, so it's used every single day. The dog is cross-trained as a comfort dog as well as a explosive ordnance detection. So they get called out by the state police to do searches for guns and ammo all hours of the day. So it's used every single day.
Okay.
Interesting, okay, thanks. If the state police calls you guys out to help in one of their investigations, do they pay in essence a detail for that or something, or?
No, it's a agreement that we have that they trained at the drug for 14 weeks, free of charge, certified it, and one of the sort of givebacks is that if they need extra support, we send our officer out.
Okay, thanks.
We also utilize their services too, throughout the year when we don't charge them.
I know about that. When you were flying right over our house, I guess, for, were you not here for that? State police helicopter circled over our neighborhood for
No, I
like an
saw the
hour and a
National
half.
Grid helicopter.
That
was nice.
That would be a big, that would be nice.
They're not donating that half track that they used to keep in the garage there, that thing? That environmental police haven't given that to us yet?
Not yet.
Yeah, give it time, give it time. I move to accept the donation of a 2017 Ford Expedition from the Massachusetts Environmental Police.
Second.
What do you anticipate the maintenance costs? I know no one can foretell the future, but I mean, it's an extra vehicle that we have to maintain, so is there the budget for it, or, I mean?
I was pleasantly surprised. My biggest concern with a vehicle like that is rust, to be honest with you, frame rusted out and things like that. It's been well maintained, it's been taken care of. I did get under it while I was up on the lift to look at it. Very surprised that, it's in the condition it is. We can't, unfortunately, we don't have the crystal ball, but I do think everything as far as when they went through is in very good shape for the year. And they've been maintaining it. There's new parts on it right now that, things that wear and tear. It's had an alternator. Looks like the fuel tank's been down, so I'd assume that would lead to a new fuel pump as well. So those are the things you worry about. Of course, with over 100,000 miles on it, things could pop up, but it was in much better shape than I expected it to be, which is a good sign.
And then, do you think of this as like a specialty vehicle, or is this expanding the fleet?
This is strictly, the back is strictly for the canine. It's got there's no seats in the back, it's a compartment. The chief mentioned the kennel compartment.
Yeah.
It's strictly a canine car. We'll have the capabilities with lights and sirens to, make traffic stops and things like that, but it will not be used as our primary vehicles day to day. It's a day to day car, but.
And then when it does finally die, are we gonna have to replace it with a new one, or that's a bridge we cross when we get there?
Well, as long as Aster's around, we'll need to take care of her, but my hope is this vehicle, will last quite some time,
It has a life expectancy. The canine has a working life of about 9 years. So we're in.
But Astor will be longer.
Yes.
Astor will last longer.
I hope so.
Well, a working life.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
that's right.
Yeah, he gets to retire.
Right. Will you sell the Fusion, or will you keep that?
Are you in the market?
No.
We're in the process right now, and we know it's capital budget season and stuff. We're evaluating all of our vehicles to look at what we can trade in, what we no longer need. Sometimes a vehicle has more value to us than the $500,000, $2,000 you get on a trade-in on it. So we are in the process of evaluating that, so we can actually give a more sort of educated decision to the town during those finance meetings and select board meetings regarding our plan for all of our vehicles.
So it is more of a replacement, we're swapping out one for the other, or it's replacing the Ford Fusion.
Well, we're still gonna have the Ford Fusion, so it's in addition right now.
Okay.
But we may trade the Fusion in conjunction with another vehicle, so we may trade 2 vehicles in for the purchase of 1 vehicle. We just have to really assess, a lot of our older vehicles have high mileage. We're looking at the Fusion has 155,000 miles on it, so this is like a new vehicle compared to the 2014 Fusion. We look at all of our vehicles with high mileage on them, but we've been able to manage our newer vehicles more efficiently. We have 5 frontline vehicles, we rotate them, we allow 2 to 3 people assigned to each vehicle. So we're not just using 2 vehicles as the primary 24/7, so there's a lot of downtimes. We're expecting the longevity of a vehicle, which historically has been 4 to 5 years, 3 to 5 to 7 years.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Just to comment, the dog and his handler are awesome. I'd like to see more of them, because he's an awesome dog.
She,
She's so well respected on her performance and recognition.
I agree.
We've had people, I've had a person say at every time that,
I'm one of them.
Well, thank you for finding another free car. Is this
Yeah.
the third one?
relationships.
Yeah,
I feel like this is the third one in the last.
Oh, yeah, I've been very lucky.
Okay, so the motion before us, on the motion before us, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Captain
Thank
Bell.
Thank you.
That brings us to rock and solar salts.
So the council on aging one is canceled?
Council on Aging is gonna be punted.
Table.
It's pretty much there, we just wanted to make sure procurement had a chance to do one final review. And the team that's been behind it wasn't available tonight, so we're gonna punt it to the 2 weeks.
Okay, thank
And the motion was about accepting a donation of a
you.
2017
I was
Ford
kind of
Explorer.
confused about that.
But we are tabling that and moving on to rock and solar salt.
So every year there's a contract with a collaborative.
Thank you,
Thank you.
thank you, Dan.
With the Merrimack
Bye,
Valley
guys.
Planning Consortium, and we have the power of economies of scale when we go out to bid. And in essence, we go out with a number of communities and we are able to get the best possible pricing. Now, that said, it's a little more expensive this year than the last 2 years, fiscal 24 and 25, at a price of 63 and 78. It is less than fiscal 23, which was at 72 for the rock salt and the solar salt. In 23, which was the last kind of bump in cost and price, was 75, 76, so it was $2.24 more expensive than that today. We had last couple of years that were better. It's obviously gone up, but the price is, in essence, the best price we could get with the economies of scale going out with multiple communities to get this. So I don't know if you have any specific questions. Like I said, this is the same thing we did last year and the prior handful of years before that. It's really the only thing that changes is what the final price that comes in at.
What's up with the solar salt?
What is it?
What is it, what do you use it for?
Well, it's salt.
Is that for the brine? That's for the brine.
I'm pretty sure it is for the brine. But I'm gonna do a quick AI
They
Google
mix it
search.
in with the water and spray the chalk
They make
lines
their
down
own
the
brine
middle of
salt.
the road. That's the solar salt.
And in fiscal 21, I can say we did not go for solar salt because we did not have the brine machine working. So we were only doing the rock salt. So the rock salt's on the road, the brine eventually it goes into the treatment, but then it goes on the road as well, which
We
is a
could have
different
used the
form.
brine this morning.
What's that?
We could have used the brine treatment this morning. It was rough out.
It's like
Gary was on top of it, don't worry.
So that's what the solar is.
Move to approve a contract between the town of Topsfield and Eastern Minerals of Lowell, Mass. for the purchase and delivery of road salt at $63 per ton and solar salt at $78 per ton for FY 2026.
Second.
Do we need to have any motions in there about not to exceed? I remember we discussed this last year, so forgive me, I don't remember where we landed. And I know this is the one account that we can overspend on.
I would recommend
Doesn't mean we
leaving it
want to.
open-ended, but if it does trend because of the conditions that we have, it's something I and the superintendent talk on weekly during the winter months, how we're doing budget to actuals. If we see anything spiking, I would just caution putting a cap on it, because if we found ourselves in a really bad winter and we had to treat more than we'd like to, but make sure we do it.
I'm just not remembering.
I
where we
just wonder
settled
if it has
last
any
year.
import, if we know that it
Right.
can be overspent anyway,
We would have,
so.
we just have to, in the event it leaves an emergency, we get low, we would have to maybe call a meeting to vote to buy more. I don't, it just.
So what you're suggesting, Raphael, or maybe one of the possibilities is that it becomes available at $59 a ton instead of 63. You know, we vote, do we buy it at 63, do we have to pay 63, even if it's available for less?
It's not what I was saying, but it's a different question.
We're locking in the pricing, so they bid annually for this. I don't see a scenario, I'm unfamiliar with a scenario where they would rebid it.
So the nature of the bidding is you pick a price and that's
You
it.
get the price, that's your price this coming season.
So last year, this was a question I wrote down and didn't ask, so I don't know why I asked it this year.
The cap?
Yeah, cause it was in the contract last year, is it in the contract this year?
I'd have to double check on what the contract states. I know that though, I know that there's what we
Oh,
can
wait, it
discuss
does,
it at
up to
some point.
82,800.
So it is in there.
Oh yeah, Amanda put that in because that's what the budget line item is. That's what she's signing off on.
So then what happens
That's
if we
not
go-
binding per se.
Right,
She just, we'd have to come up with a solution if it gets greater than 82,800 in the given year of how we're gonna.
And I would ask,
Give transfer, what that looks like.
I feel like you're just asking it philosophically, but I would ask,
so procedurally,
well, maybe that's correct. But what's the point? It's not like we're gonna stop buying salt if the roads are icy.
does it have to come to us again? I know we can go over on it, but
And my point is because it's one that we can overspend, that no, it doesn't have to come to us again.
Nothing from
we, the
procurement.
town, can overspend, but not necessarily Gary and Kevin can overspend.
No,
Without us saying that's okay.
no, I think that's exactly what can happen.
That line
That's the
item.
procedural that I'm asking.
So do you wanna put a cap on, like, how much?
Not do I want to, do we need to?
You do not, in my mind, need to, cause if we get to 82.8, Amanda's not gonna process another invoice if we buy it without us coming together with the finance team.
That's what I'm saying.
Coming up with the strategy of how we're gonna fund it. We do this as operationally during the course of the year with many line items in our budget, when things go a different direction than we anticipated. We start figuring out ways towards the end of the fiscal year of STM and where we're transferring from to try to get the balance.
So just because we're allowed to go over, doesn't mean, we still have to go scrounging around looking for offsets. Of course.
Oh yeah,
We still have to pay for it, but
we look at all the
again, I
couch
would
cushions.
caution that if we put a cap on it, even if that can be overspent, if we now say, well, you have to come back to the board, and then we have some epic ice storm, are we gonna say, oh, well, let's, get together and have a meeting so we can tell Gary to keep buying salt to keep people safe?
Gary keeps it stocked up there, right?
To-
He's not buying it the day before a storm.
Do we buy?
I would just ask, what would be the point of putting a cap on it?
At great risk to destroying a fine tradition, I think I'm with Marshall, let's just leave it at 63 and 78.
Is that 2 meetings in a row where you both?
I know, it's happening,
This is
that's
like
what
4
happens when
times
you
this
sit
quarter.
next to each
Doesn't
other.
happen, doesn't happen often.
Trust me, the budget's coming up, it's gonna end.
The budget's coming.
There's probably a lot of truth to that.
It's not gonna last forever.
That's fine. We've had a
Enjoy
motion
the
and a
honeymoon.
second. Unless there are any other further discussion on this. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Alright, it passes. Next up, moving right along. Dun, 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 dun. Evermore at Pierce Farm ABCC application update.
So I'll just hand this over to Sam in a second, because she's been working closely on this. We submitted the application on behalf of the applicant to ABCC. Typically in the process, they come back with questions or any modifications. It's a little bit of housekeeping item, specifically around the outdoor stations for alcohol consumption.
The ABCC just recommended a more detailed breakdown, and you can see that in the liquor license as well as the second submitted plan of operation. It's just a more detailed breakdown of their outdoor consumption area.
In
Nothing has changed from the original.
so where? That was what I was struggling with, was to seeing what changed where. I didn't do a side by side.
I put in,
The following designated outdoor areas, that part?
yes.
What page?
If you pull up just the liquor license draft, it's 1 page. The entire description I expanded upon.
So you added the following designated outdoor areas
Yes.
with Okay.
It's just housekeeping at the end of the day, nothing of substance has changed. It's just a more detailed breakdown with square footage of the outdoor consumption areas.
It seems too easy.
The ABCC is here to make our life easier.
Alright.
What's the one page thing?
Move to approve the edits to the Evermore at Pierce Farms application and draft license.
We'll wait before we
Oh
get.
wait, Michelle has a,
I have made a motion though, so it's out there.
can I add on to it? You're not finished yet.
We weren't ready yet.
I am taking a deep breath.
Alright, no, wait, this is how we do it. Are there any seconds to this motion?
No,
No one, you don't
There
dare
are
second.
none. There are none.
Oh, okay, there are
Therefore,
no
it does
seconds,
not
so you can
pass.
stop. My motion, there you go.
Didn't pass.
Oh, I'm not writing you any more motions for your next meeting.
Yeah, there you go. She's
We're
very
gonna get to
upset.
the one that you want.
Yeah.
It's this with the word added
Yeah,
on at
no,
the
that's
end.
right, she's gonna do it now.
No,
I'm not writing you any more motions for
I'm
your
trying to
next
move
meeting.
things along, that's all I'm doing.
you
No more
jumped the gun
motions.
this time.
Can I make a motion?
No more motions for
Before
anyone.
we get to motions, are there any other questions?
You think
for-
it's getting
You can
kinda.
do that in discussion after the motion.
But then we'd have to vote on the motion.
You don't have to, you say you vote on the motion, you get a second, then you have discussion.
I have to say I'm enjoying this.
Enjoy it when no one has any motions written for them on their next meeting.
It's fine, we're gonna get to the one you wanted.
You're gonna punish me? 'Cause these
I'm
guys
punishing
are-
everyone.
Does anybody
Everyone.
else have any questions before we get any motions?
This is much too.
I have them, but I'm gonna wait till
Much
the
too
discussion
complicated
period.
for
That's your prerogative. No, no one else. Now, is there a motion that perhaps is more, not gonna make Sam jump out of her seat?
Too late. I have a better motion. How
No.
about
A better motion.
Whoa.
vote to approve the edits to the Evermore at Pierce Farms application and draft license with a start date of January 1st, 2026.
That just has a
Well,
certain
look at
ring
that
to it.
cheeky.
I do like that one. Are there any seconds on this motion?
I'll second it, what the heck?
Alright.
Yes.
It must be right, it's from
Let's get on
Michelle.
with it.
Any other discussion, Mr. Hook?
I just wanna say that was a well-written motion, and I thank you for the
Enjoy
effort.
it because it's the last one I write you.
It's fine. That's all.
Listen, it was covered underneath the e-bike paper. Doesn't matter, you're not getting one next time.
So I'll write it, it's gonna be miserable.
No,
No one can read your handwriting.
any other discussion on this? Alright, on the motion, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? It passes. And that moves us on to the sealer of weights and measures.
Yes, so we have a sealer of weights and measures. And many times if you go to the gas stations in town, you'll see his name and his signature because it
On every pump,
certifies
on every gas.
and every pump. He not only does those locations, but he also does many other scales and weights, whether it's in Proctor School or the fairgrounds.
Does he also do measurements?
Yes, he's got much equipment that can covers the weights and the measurements. We met this not a couple weeks ago, and he wanted to meet because he took a look at our fee structure associated, which hasn't been updated in the last 6 years. I can promise you that, and probably many years prior to that.
Yeah.
Because he works in, I think, about 8 or so communities, and he gave an example of the closest like communities that he works on here, and you can see it on the sheet that's on Board Docs, of some comparable pricing for the same types of work that he's doing in those communities. And we always talk about how can we find more revenue. I'll tell you right now, if you accept this netting, it's gonna be like $250 more revenue annually for us. It's
How
not a
much?
big $250. There's not a lot of measuring that
Not a
happens
big deal.
or weighing that happens in town. But it's important that the ones that do are looked at annually. And the
So
work,
this is revenue from the sellers that have equipment that needs to be validated. Revenue from them to the town.
correct. So when our person goes out, he brings his equipment and he will, whatever type of measurement he's doing, if he's say the gas station, he's got a container that he knows what the weight is and he can net it out and he fills it up and then he puts it on his scale and then he looks to make sure that it's accurate. And if it needs to be adjusted, he'll let him know that they have to make that adjustment. Occasionally, if it's a small tweak, he can make that adjustment for him. But generally, he's out there and he's doing these annually, and it's an annual inspection.
Just once a year, okay.
Because you
He
get
charges a fee for that.
most of the things that we
pay
have in
him out of
town,
this.
when it comes to balances and scales are under 100 pounds. I think we have one 100 to 1,000 scale, I believe. We might have, one 1,500, I believe that's the Topsfield fair for the pumpkin.
I thought the pumpkin's 2,000 something now.
It is, this
It
year's
is.
was.
I think that's why I said it's 100 to 5,000, and then we have like, I
Okay.
think 1 or 2 100 to 1,000, a couple of the 100 pounds, and 10 and under, there's a few of that. We don't have any weights in town, is my understanding, so that the dollar charge. But the liquid measuring, we have the gasoline, that's really the only one we have. That'll be going up to the 15 to 25. And then we don't have taximeters, fabric, right, wire rope, any of those things, so it's really just a handful of these that will be impacted, and the impacts, although percentage wise are great, real dollars, they're not, because the cost of inspections are limited.
Yeah.
And like I said, netting, it's
It's a scale.
$250. So my ask and recommendation to the board is that we update these
Siri will tell you.
these costs for next year.
Any questions?
I'm gonna make a motion to vote to approve.
Can we answer the questions first?
Any questions?
Absolutely.
So I just had a quick one. So we used to have an oil company
Mhm.
on the corner of Central and Route 1. Did they used
What's your
to
favorite?
measure what was inside those?
What's your favorite?
Which one are you looking at?
So vehicle tank oil truck?
Oh, sure, yeah, I'm sure he did. They're no longer there, so he's not doing that anymore.
Alright, interesting.
Okay, any other questions? Alright, now,
Vote to approve the fees as presented with the implementation date of January 1st, 2026.
Second.
seconded, any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? It passes. And that brings us to item M, the Topsfield Community Partnership for Marshall.
Is this here?
M? No, this has nothing to do with me, other than it's item M for Marshall,
Oh, gosh, no.
Yes.
How do you know it's not item N from Mets?
because I'm the one who said it.
Oh, I get it.
the
I
next
get it.
spelling.
I see what you did there.
Oh, yeah.
I see what you did there.
So, like many of the things we invest in our beautification downtown, we have a great partner, it's Topsfield Community Partnership, who's chaired by Sarah Guido, a friend of ours. Once again, they are being very generous in helping us cover the cost of our winter, it's the winter greens, right? The winter greens that are on our LED solar powered lights in the downtown. We added 2 lights in the pocket park this part year, so we actually have 4 more of those plants than we've had in previous years. But they look phenomenal, they're up, they look great, we're very grateful for everyone's help in making that happen. I also shout out to Tom Capono of Fresh Look Design, who updated winter greens in the ground mounted flower pots that you see, the black ones. He did that on his own time and with his own product to update those. So we're very grateful. His partnership is a member of the ECDC and a local business owner and a resident. But what's in front of us is the donation, the acceptance of it to allow for TCP to cover the costs for the updates we have done just ahead of the holiday meet and greet this weekend.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, I don't hear any questions.
Make a motion to vote to accept a donation from the Topsfield Community Partnership, Inc. The amount of $2,436 for the support of the downtown holiday hang baskets.
I'll second it. Woo. Alright, any other discussion? Questions, comments? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you to the TCP for their continued generosity.
Very nice.
Absolutely.
Okay, and that brings us to select board updates. We'll go back to our usual order of operations and start with Mr. Hook.
I'm good. You know,
Mr. Metz with an M evidently.
I think I spent so much time eating, I don't really have any related updates.
I have to pass.
You have to pass now.
Well, I do have.
Oh,
2 weeks ago, we had a traffic advisory committee meeting. And at that meeting, the chief of police informed us that there's a lot of e-bike activity downtown. And he has no way to try to control that without having some sort of bylaw or some sort of regulations that try to control that. Last week, there was an article in the Boston Globe that I took a copy of and gave it all to you about the fact that this is a statewide issue. And I'd like you to read that and think a little bit about that. Today, there was a full-page editorial in the Boston Globe about the very same subject. And the fact of the matter is, it appears that the technology is advancing so fast that state and city governments, town governments can't keep up with it. And the chief has asked us to look into it. He has told us, and he mentioned it, I think, tonight, about the fact that there are some, maybe Sam did that. Somebody said he's looking, there are some other towns that have already done this, and he's trying to give us some ideas about the way to set up a bylaw to give him the ability to control that. So I'd like you to read that article, think about it, and let's move on at the appropriate time.
Good. Ms. Mercier-Link?
Few things. So don't forget, this Saturday is the Holiday on the Green. All of your thunder.
Oh, please.
From 4 to 7 p.m. And it's worth noting that Main Street will be closed from the Town Hall to Park Street, starting at 2 p.m. What else? Small Business Saturday was this past Saturday, and it appears that it was pretty successful. So I'm happy for the businesses for the foot traffic they received. And then a reminder, bulk item pickup is on December 12th, and you must register for that.
Right.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Couple from me. Thank you for everyone in town hall for keeping the town running while Mr. Hartunian was out of town. And the wheels stayed on the bus. So I know it was a big, it was a team effort from a bunch of people, so thank you.
Sam
to
somehow
folks.
broke my phone
And
from,
thank you to Annie for breaking your
Yeah.
It
phone.
was me and Annie, we planned it.
Yeah,
oh, you replaced it?
you're back up and running.
For the case.
I had a meeting with the Cub Scouts again. They do this where they meet with an elected official, and one of the things we asked them is, what would you do with tax money in town? They asked some really pointed questions this year, like, why do we have to pay taxes? What's this going for? I think their parents were prompting them. Nothing about trash
Why do we have
barrels,
to pay
nothing about
taxes?
recycling. I got them there by the end, but they did ask that if we could turn Pybrook Park into a water park instead.
Oh.
I said they need to get somebody to submit that as a, what's it called, a citizens petition. And Holiday on the Green was already mentioned, so with that, I'll turn it over to the town administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to Zilly Buju for her efforts in organizing a site visit at Casella Waste and Recycling down in Charlestown. Sam, Sarah, and about 7 or 8 others joined us down there for a couple of hours where we got to do a site tour with their leadership down there. But I thought it was really intriguing, not only the facility and how they built in a very tight envelope, so many conveyor belts and so much work to try to separate out all the material, and they do, it's amazing. Was the small classroom setting we started in the Q&A, where we asked some very poignant questions and got some very honest answers, which we appreciated. So it's really good to see what happens with the recycling, because when you put it on the curb, there's always those questions, what's gonna happen to my product? Is it, where's it going? What is it? I had somebody at one meeting say, you just burn it, right? No, we don't. I can say I've seen firsthand, it gets separated and then it gets put in the right places to be reused if it can be. So again, thank you to everybody who participated. It was really worthwhile.
Can I add one quick thing? It all goes to companies in the US that are making like plastic wood and different things. And the only thing that goes overseas is the white paper, I think, right, which
Yeah.
is easy to recycle, and that goes to, I think, Vietnam or someplace, but all that plastic really is getting used in the United States.
Which is great. And there's very specific companies they send it to and they melt it down or they repurpose it, right? Big thank you to the community and the people here at Town Hall, Sam and Kathleen Barbarisi, Police Chief, Fire Chief, Library. A few weeks ago when there was some uncertainty heading into the holiday about food security and members of our community, we know there are members of our community who are struggling. Team organized effort to work with our partners, both Accord and Top Shelf, Top Cupboard, the two pantries locally. And over the course of 2.5 weeks, with our team and with our community's generosity, we were able to bring in 1,600 pounds just for the police department alone. We brought in 2.5 trash carts worth of material. Fire delivered and the library delivered some as well. And it was very well appreciated from those two organizations. And something else that's really been special is Kathleen Barbarisi and Sam set up a mini food pantry here at Town Hall. So if you don't feel comfortable maybe going to Accord or going to Top Cupboard, come to Town Hall, go through the garden suite entrance down below. To your right, you'll see some food, and we welcome anybody in our community who is in need to stop by and maybe pick something up. As we will continue to have a drop, we'll have that labeled trash cart right next to it for those who might be willing to come and drop some. That'll be open through the holidays at least. And a special thanks to Little Brook for opening up the doors. Kathleen Barbarisi and I went up there a few weeks ago, talked about the needs and what we're trying to do to help meet those needs in our community, those who are most vulnerable. It was great. It was overwhelming how many people showed up, and it was really fantastic that people felt that the town was listening, the town was available, and the town was providing some support mechanisms for those people that were in need. So grateful for a lot of those efforts that have been made recently. Sam, thank you. Proctor School, Gary Wilds and I, Superintendent Wilds and I were able to go over there working with their STEM teacher Paige and the principal, and did a presentation last week of the Milebrook Bridge to, I would say, at least 100 students, fourth graders. We got there, they said you have an hour. I was like, we only got like 15 minutes of material, but we stretched it to an hour, and it was partly because of the really incredible engagement from the kids. They were really sincerely into the project and the presentation we gave. We always talk about how do we get people to pay attention to what we're doing and engage with us. It's a really great example, be able to get in front of a captured audience. They had no choice, they had to be there. But we were able to explain to them what was going on with the bridge, what we were doing now, and what the future looks like. And so we did 2 on-site visits out at the bridge later in the afternoon after the presentation in the morning. And it was really overwhelmingly nice to see the support from the children in our school system. So we hope to continue it. We're gonna do something with water after the new year, and we'll keep that going, that partnership between our schools and real practical examples of engineering and the things that we do that most people aren't aware of. And it really starts to the youth sharing what we're doing. We're looking to do something potentially with sustainability as well, something they're interested in.
Maybe they should go to the recycling facility.
Maybe they can. They'll need a lot of hard hats and some protective vests. Maybe some ropes to tie them together, but we can make it work.
A lot of nice thank you notes.
They're so cute.
From the
Paige
kids.
dropped them off today. It was really overwhelming. It's nice.
If Gary isn't Greg, he's Gary with 2 R's.
I know, I noticed that.
I'll mention, we talked about upcoming events. I'll mention this Thursday, 4 p.m. COA dinner upstairs. We already have Kathleen Barbarisi, COA director, said it's already been almost booked fully out. It should be a great crowd. Welcome more people to keep participating with our COA. It's been really popular lately. We really appreciate people coming out for those. Holiday Indy Green this Saturday, but also we have a menorah lighting that we're scheduling for the 17th of this month, December, and it'll be over at the Pocket Park. 5:30, I believe.
tentative, but most likely.
And then I've got three last things I wanna, we mentioned earlier, I did get away, would be remiss not to
Oh
share
my
with you
God.
guys. I had to get souvenirs for the board while I was there. You are not obligated to put them on camera, but when the cameras go off, you do have to put them on. We got some Mickey ears for you guys. So it was nice, thank you, I wanna say thank you for the staff here, the support from you folks. It's been a while since we were able to get away with the family and it was very nice to unplug for a little bit. So just wanna thank the team for being who they are and keeping everything moving.
They haven't even
Into
told
peer
you
pressure,
everything that
boy.
went down, did they?
No, they didn't, I don't wanna know.
Sure.
We're still standing, the building's still here, nothing to do now.
It's good to see
I'll
that
put it
things
on
can
the
actually
TV
run
company.
without you here.
That's what we do, we build, we get good people.
I tried to burn it down.
She did, we took the matches away before I left.
It's with my gavel.
I wanted to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there watching us. Happy Thanksgiving to the board. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. And I'm looking at the clock and I know there's something going on tonight. Go Pats. That's it. I'm good.
I'm gonna stop right there. Doug, I know you're watching the game. I don't know what
On his phone.
I don't want you to tell me what the score
Yeah,
is.
no score,
No.
no
It's looking
spoilers.
good. It's looking good by his face. I can tell we're okay.
Not that
Looks
our
like I was
board
stressed. I don't know.
timing is dictated by professional sports, unless the Patriots wanna come to a board meeting, in which case we can, of
I
course.
like that. We'll make that happen anytime.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'd point folks to our correspondence where they'll find Mr. Hook's favorite something about TV channels changing. And then
I couldn't make heads or tails.
oodles and oodles of letters from Mrs. Kelleher's students about Kevin and Gary. Clearly you made an impression, or they forced the kids to write a letter. One or the other.
Could've
One
been a
or the
little
other.
both.
Maybe a little both. Yeah, probably more forced.
And maybe there's something new on correspondence I didn't check today, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention them all, right?
Well, you gotta find it.
Bear with me.
We'll see.
Oh, 2 TV channel updates.
Yeah, only one about channels, the other one's just general
I
service.
couldn't make heads or tails of it, so, but I'm not a
Um,
Xfinity guy.
9:06.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion to adjourn? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any
Sarah.
opposed?
Bye, Sarah.
Any abstentions? None. We are adjourned.